Hey guys, welcome back on my channel. Today's video is going to be a video about contouring, bronzing, and highlight for fair skin. So if you have fair skin, especially if you're a beginner, you want to learn a few tips and tricks, a few brushes, a few products you might want to pick up and try, keep on watching. Just to give you an idea, I'm currently wearing the L'Oreal True Match foundation in C1, which is the lightest foundation that I own, and it's really cool tone, so I will give you an idea also what to use if you have more of a warm tone. So that's what I'm wearing right now with the CoverGirl powder in the color Ivory, which is 205, which is, I believe, also the lightest shade. I don't necessarily recommend the foundation, I just wanted to give you an idea. I feel like it sits a little bit too much on my dry skin, but just to give you an idea, I'm really fair right now. My first trick for beginners would be to make sure that your foundation is really dry before you start contouring or bronzing. If you feel like the foundation doesn't fully set or you're really in a rush, I would suggest to actually set it. So I'm just gonna make sure I apply enough powder just to make sure it will be easy to blend it. I like this powder for dry skin because it doesn't dry out my skin. So if you have dry skin and you were looking for something that is affordable, this CoverGirl powder, this is the sensitive press powder. It works really well for me. So now that my foundation is not wet anymore, it's going to be way easier to contour and bronze. There's two contour shades I want to suggest. If you have really cool tone skin tone like I do right now, I would suggest something like the NYX Taupe blush, which isn't really a blush, it's more of a contour shade. And as you can see, it's almost like a little bit purple grayish color, which works really well to just give you a really natural shadow, which is what you want. You don't want anything that will look orange on your skin tone, otherwise it's not going to look natural. What I like about this one is it's really buildable. It's not necessarily super sheer, but like you have to apply a few coats to make it really noticeable, which is what you want, especially if you're more a beginner and you have really fair skin. If you have a warmer skin tone, I would suggest something like the MAC blush in Taupe once again. This one, as you can see, it's a little bit more yellow, it's a little warmer. I did do really heavy swatches so you can really see the colors. As you can see, it's this one right here. The NYX one could look a little bit too purple on the warmer skin tones. It could wash you out, but this one has a little bit more yellow, so it will work really well if you have warm skin tone. But once again, it's a buildable shade. It's not too intense. Like I really did heavy swatches. Like if I just do a light swatch, it's not that scary. So if you're still a beginner, this will work really well, as you can see. Brushes, there's two types that you can go with. You can either go with this type of angle brush, which if you have difficulty finding the all over your cheek, this could help you. I still prefer these type of rounded brushes just because, I don't know, I just feel like it's easier to really blend it naturally. So I have two options right here. The first one is the Sigma F05, but as long as it's like almost like a dome brush, it's gonna work really well. And this one is the Real Technique one, which is more pointy. So sometimes I use it to highlight, but you know, those are two options. As long as it's somewhat similar to this, it's small, you should be able to work with it. Okay, so I zoomed you in a little bit so it's going to be easier for you to see. So I'm going to use the NYX blush because like I said, right now I have more of a cool tone skin tone, and I'm going to use my little Sigma brush. So you just want to apply just a tiny little bit. There's just barely any color on it, and that's enough. So what you want to do is you start by like the top of your hair right to your mouth. So as you can see, mine you can kind of see it, but if you have difficulty, this is a trick. You can just do this and you know where you have to apply it. To make sure it's going to look natural, I suggest, like I said, using just a tiny bit of product and doing a little circle, not a straight line, so it's going to be easier to blend it and make it look more natural. So let's just do it. You don't want to go too far either, otherwise again it's not going to look super natural. So you just start slightly, and as you can see, you can really see it already really well. You can just build it up until you have the intensity that you want. Contouring is used to really change up the shape of your face. So if you wanted to reduce the size of your forehead, for example, you could just contour a little bit on the sides. You could also do your nose, but I'm not going to do it. So you probably can already see the difference between both sides. And it looks really natural. I feel like on camera right now, because I'm really zoomed in the shadows, it looks pretty intense, but it really isn't. In real life, it's like really natural. So I'm going to do the other side, and then I'm going to zoom you out so you can really see. Again, little circles, and you want to go upward, not downward, because it's going to blend later on into your blush and your bronzer. As you can see, it just adds a little bit of definition without being too harsh. It's not orange whatsoever. It really looks like a natural shadow. Bronzers can be really hard to find the perfect shade if you have fair skin because they will automatically look orange all the time. One of them that I really like is the Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil. As you can see, it's way lighter. It almost looked like a yellowy brown, but that's perfect if you're really fair skin because it's not gonna look orange or too dark or muddy or any of these things. Once again, brushes, I would suggest going with a big fluffy brush. Mine are pretty dirty, but I have this one by Sigma. This is the F30, as you can see, big dome brush. Not going to use that one because clearly I need to wash it. Another great one is the Real Technique one. This is the powder brush. I really like using it again to bronze my face. It's fluffy. As you can see, it's big and fluffy. That's what you want. Or I have this one. I'm testing out the Morphe S19, which I find really, really soft. So I think I'm going to use that one because I'm trying to decide if I like it. So far I do. So what you want to do is just take a little bit of product and tap off the excess because you don't want to go like too intense in the beginning, especially if you're just starting out. So I'm just going to apply a little bit, just tap off in the cap, and then and then just slightly, again, circular motion. I'm going to go over the contour and then blend on my forehead. Obviously, if you don't feel comfortable bronzing your face, you can just skip that step, but just like to apply a little bit just to warm up my complexion. And then don't forget to do your jaw. So basically, it's like a 3. So if you want to hide a double chin, that's the best way. So hopefully you can see the difference. It just brings a little bit of warmth to my face and it just blends the contour perfectly together. To the side. You could also use a contour brush once again and just do a little bit on the side of your nose just to give, not necessarily to contour, but just to add a little bit of warmth there too. Highlight, there's so many options like the Benefit High Beam if you really want something that is cool tone. If you live in the UK, a great one would be the Undressed, the MUA Undress Your Skin, which is also really, really great and a little bit on the pink tone side. Or there's the Benefit What's Up, there's the Mirror Luminizer, but the one that I'm going to use is the e.l.f. Big Blush in the color Pinktastic, which is not really pink. It's more of a light golden shade that isn't too gold, so if you have really fair skin, it won't look like a gold strip like some of them can look like. To apply your highlight, there's 3 types that I like. There's either the e.l.f. Small Stippling Brush, like this one. I really like this. I feel like it's not too big and it just picks up just a tiny little bit of product because it is a stippling brush. You can also use something like the Real Technique Contour Brush that I said earlier. That's what I usually use it for. I just like it for it. Or again, there's the Sigma Tapered Highlighter, which is the F35, which again, I really like either to apply my under eye setting powder or my highlight. So I'm going to use the Real Technique one and the e.l.f. Big Blush. So this one I'm going to use on top of my cheekbones, so right over here. So it's going to give you just a beautiful glow. If you apply just a little bit of this one and you don't use anything wet with it, it's going to look pretty natural. Yeah, you can probably see it. And on the other side, yeah, you can see it. So as you can see, it just gives you a really beautiful glow. And you can do top of your nose and the tip. So I like this one because it is pretty glowy without having any glitter into it, so that's what I really like. I'm just going to apply a little bit of blush over the top. I'm going to use the MAC Blushbaby, which is just a sheer tone, so any type of blush that isn't overly pigmented that you have to build up is actually really great, especially if you're a beginner. So if I do a heavy swatch, you can see it over here, it's really a natural color. So it's not going to look over the top, you're not going to look like a clown. So this is the Real Technique Multitask Brush. So I'm going to apply just a little bit to my eye pole and then just blend it out with my contour and bronzer. So if you ever feel like you apply too much, I would suggest either just take a kabuki brush or any big fluffy brush and just blend as much as you can. It's going to make it look more natural. Or just go back with your foundation brush or your foundation sponge and just apply it a little bit over the top. It's going to make it more subtle. This is the after. As you can see, it just gives me a little bit more definition, a little bit more color to my face, because after foundation you can look really one dimension. So I feel like it just gives me a little bit of oomph, you know? It's still fairly natural that if I want to, I could do that on a daily basis, or you can just do it on special event, obviously, but I think it doesn't look overly done. And obviously it looks natural on fair skin, so it doesn't look orange or muddy. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up if you liked it. Let me know in the comments what are your favorite products for fair skin to contour, bronze, blushes, highlight. Don't forget to subscribe if it's not already done, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.